Guys, let's end things today with Scream 6. Woo! Scream 6. This movie was, yeah.
This movie was, yeah.
I'm just trying to think how to. Okay, because I'll be honest, I started off thinking I was a little bit disappointed with it, but the more I think about it, the more I realize actually I kind of liked it a bit. But Jesse, you were with me when I saw it. What are your overall thoughts? What are your overall thoughts of Scream 6?
I'm not a big fan of the franchise. I saw the first one the night before we saw the new one, and I thought that, like, even though the first one was a bit silly at points and very 90s, it was a significant step above this one. I thought this one just got a bit too silly. The dialogue, I know they reference, horror movie formula and horror movie tropes, but the way and I'm like, is it just the way the actors are saying it, or is it the way the dialogue is written? It just felt off to me. I'm like, is this a movie? I don't know, it just felt to me that the strongest parts of this Scream movie were the scenes either when Ghostface is chasing the main characters or stalking the main characters. That was easily the strongest parts of this movie. I thought that the ladder scene where they're crawling across the ladder to get to the other apartment building, I thought that was really well done. I thought the scene on the train was really well done, when there's all the Halloween masks and everything like that, and there's lots of different Ghostface people who dress up as Ghostface, and you're like, oh, which one is it, and which one's the killer? And but yeah, I don't know, I just thought it was pretty underwhelming. I thought the villain, I know controversial, but I thought, because I know a lot of people are saying this is a good good film, but I thought the reveal of the killers was a little bit weak. I thought the characters were getting stabbed like 10 times and living, and then other characters were getting stabbed and then running around as if they'd just gotten a paper cut. So
to be fair, a lot of slashers have that same issue. So yeah,
there's three characters. So there's the two siblings and Gale Weathers. All three of them get stabbed like 10 times, and all three of them survive at the end of the movie. And I remember I saw
they got plot armor.
And I remember I saw the brother come out because they said, "Oh, Gale Weathers," and I can't remember the girl's name. Gale Weathers and the girl survived, and then the brother comes out on on a hospital bed. Because I was like thinking, oh, okay, well, it must have been the brother that just died, and the brother comes out in the hospital. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, all these characters got shanked like 10, 15 times.
I have one thing to say about this.
Yeah.
Real quick, right? So I'm a big Beatles fan, and my favorite Beatle is George Harrison. And not a lot of people know this, but he survived being stabbed during a house robbery 40 times. I'm not joking. You should read this story. Ever since I learned this, when I watch movies like this now, I'm like, well, maybe if George survived, like, there's some accuracy.
Yeah, but the reverse of that is you can be stabbed once and die.
Yeah,
I know.
It just seemed a bit ridiculous to me. And then other times, like, characters would get like slashed or stabbed.
Yeah.
And then they just keep running around like, oh no, I'm all good, let's just like run away. Oh no.
Yeah, like Michael Myers, being literally blown up, but still somehow.
Yeah, but Michael Myers isn't. Michael Myers is insinuated as something that's as a character that's not human. It's like superhuman.
Yeah.
These are all humans, supposedly.
So this this ties into my favorite thing about the Scream franchise, and that Scream is the only horror franchise where the protagonists live and continue on. Like, the problem with a lot of the Freddys and Jasons and Saws and whatever else is every new film you got to go through this whole origin story again of meeting all the characters who are going to become victims, and so you don't have this connection as they move on from film to film.
Yeah,
I think Halloween is the only one I can think of where like Jamie Lee Curtis continues throughout, and so I love that. I actually love it when we have main characters survive that continue on to the next film, because then that way we've got something to hold on to at the start, and we have reason to care. And slight spoilers, but nearly everybody survives this film, which
Yeah.
was a surprising twist.
Oh
It-
shit! Okay.
Like everyone that dies is like some no-named background character that gets in
Yeah.
Ghostface's way.
Yeah, so I that's cool. I think the other thing I didn't realize at the time,
Oh, I did love that scene in the convenience store though. I thought that was really cool. That
Yeah,
scene
well-
where he's
he's got the shotgun and
he chases the girls into the convenience store, and you're like thinking, surely he's not gonna go in there with a bunch of people inside. And sure enough, he goes in there, and people are like, what the fuck's going on? And then some guy's like, yeah, piss off, whatever. And he just starts stabbing him, and then he just starts killing people. And then he takes the store owner's shotgun and starts. I thought that was like, as I said, the scenes where Ghostface is chasing them down and killing people was easily the best parts of the movie.
yeah, and as a predominantly a horror franchise, like that's what you want. And these directors have proven time and time again they are good at doing horror scenes. But yeah, I think something that was really distracting for me as I'm watching that. I'm like, I keep thinking like, what's New York bringing to this film? Like, they make such a big deal in the advertising, and I just kept feeling like, other than like maybe the train sequence, but trains exist other places too. Other than the train sequence, it's like this kind of feels like just another Scream movie. It doesn't really feel like they've changed it up that much. So that was a bit disappointing to me, but upon further reflection, what I like about this one, and this kind of was also a compliment to the previous one, Scream 5, is that this is the number one good example of requels, because this doesn't feel like Scream 6. This feels like Scream 2, the sequel to the last Scream movie. Believe it or not, I think by not having Sydney and Neve Campbell in this film, it actually works to the benefit of this movie, because now you've got our main characters with Jenna Ortega and Melissa Barrera. The film sits on their shoulders and they have to carry it, and it allows the Scream 6 to create its own identity as a film outside of Scream 1, 2, 3, and even 4. In fact, whenever Gale Weathers shows up, I'm a bit disappointed, because while she does have an amazing encounter with Ghostface, it just kind of feels like, oh, we're going back to that same dwell. Like when you look at other requel franchises, Star Wars, Jurassic Park, the new Halloween films, so a lot of the problems with them is, they're just trying to take from the old movies because they don't have anything new. But by having this tie to Billy Loomis and this relationship between these two sisters, it actually does feel new. Sure, the script and the motions and the things around them kind of feel the same, but these characters feel fresh, and I really appreciate that. I think the only other thing to mention is so going into this movie, I talked about this in the podcast before. My biggest concern was the horror commentary. I feel like there wasn't going to be a lot.
Yeah, so maybe you saying that.
And I was like, what the hell are they going to talk about? Is it just going to be about changing locations or franchises running out of ideas? No. So this one is commentary on franchises as an ongoing sagas. They make a lot more references to stuff like Marvel and Star Wars than they do things like Halloween and stuff, which is interesting. And I love the post-credit sequence, for example, and some of the rules they set up, but there's barely any of that in this movie. And so I stick to what I said. I think I stick to what I said. There's not a lot of commentary on the horror franchise here. This is just more of a straight up horror film. We have little bits, we have some references, and I do like the idea they're talking about franchises as opposed to sequels now. But I wish there was more of that. So that was a little bit disappointing to me. But overall, I had a good time.
Yeah, I don't know. I just find all the commentary about I know it's a staple of this Scream, but I feel like the first film was written a bit more seamlessly compared to this one. I thought this one was a bit of a reach with some of the dialogue.
Well, that's because the first one had more to say. And the first one made more of an effort. In fact, I would say all the movies, except for this one, had more to offer, had in terms of commentary. This one, they didn't have much to go on. Basically, just goes down to anyone can die because, including legacy characters, because.
But no one died. No one important died.
Exactly. Which maybe is commentary to say that, you know, this is what it's like when a studio is milking a franchise and they want it to continue on forever.
Yeah.
But there's it literally comes down to 2 scenes. The whole film, it's like there's about 2 scenes that talk about that. Yeah, and I think I was a bit disappointed with one of the reveals of the cop character, because I thought, oh, he's the new Dewey, and no, he's not the new Dewey. Turns out, that's all I'll say. Yeah, but anything else to say before we wrap things up today?
Yeah, I was just a bit underwhelming, but you know, it is what it is. They're going to keep churning out these horror films, so
yeah, they've already confirmed Scream 7 for next year. So, and that's my biggest concern with Scream. I think this came out like a year after the first.
It's soaring itself.
It's worse than soaring itself. It's like actually maybe it's the best one, but if they keep pushing them out, if they keep pushing them out so quickly, I think the writers, they need more time to come up with something, you know, because otherwise it's going to be pretty shallow. Yeah, I will say this: it's weird seeing Jenna Ortega not act like Wednesday.
Not Wednesday.
Yeah, like she's at a party, she's partying, she's drinking, she's, you know, trying to hook up with boys, and it's like, Wednesday Addams, young lady, this is so out of
What
character.
are you doing?
Yeah.
That dude that she was sitting on was fucking creepy.
Dude, he was like 400 years old. Like he looked, maybe it's because she's so short, but like he looked way too old to be at that party. But that's just me. Maybe that's on purpose. I don't know. Also, I want to say I'm happy that the character of Mindy survived, because I feel like
that was her name.
Yeah, she's like the new Randy of the franchise. I think killing Randy off in Scream 2 was such a disappointing missed opportunity, because we need that character who can be like, oh, I got a reference to a horror movie. So I'm glad we still got that character around.